All is yours, Arahi. Pressure, you have taken for.
1 second.
Just let us know when.
Yes, 1 second.
Why it's taking so much time?
Meghna, can you please check? Yes, yes, now it's like, yeah. Yeah, Manjula.
No. Go ahead, Arahi.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to her second innings job prep masterclass, Unlock Your Career Potential. My name is Arohi Drabu, and I'm thrilled to be your host for today's exciting session. We at Her Second Innings are dedicated to empowering women professionals in their career journeys, and today's session is designed to help you navigate job search strategies, personal branding, and interview preparation with confidence. To begin with, we have two incredible speakers joining us today. And let's just all welcome them. First of all, we have Suma Negora, a LinkedIn personal branding strategist who will be sharing her insights on crafting a compelling LinkedIn presence and resume. She brings around 17 years of work experience in multiple sectors. She's an entrepreneur, a TEDx speaker, and an expert in personal branding. Passionate about empowering women, she is here to help you leverage LinkedIn to build your personal brand and attract opportunities. Next, we have Preeti Guruswamy, an executive coach for tech leaders who will guide us through the hidden job market and effective network strategies. Preeti brings 25 years of experience navigating leadership across industries, cultures, and diverse perspectives, and is currently working to empower and uplift tech leaders with her hard-won wisdom. She's also a keynote speaker and is a part of exclusive LinkedIn Top Voice program. Let's all welcome our speakers. After the session at 11 a.m., we will be joined by our HR industry experts who will share specialized insights on job preparation, offering industry-specific strategies to help you navigate the hiring landscape with confidence. So before we begin, a quick reminder, stay engaged, take notes, stay hydrated, and feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we'll be addressing them during a question and answer session at 11 a.m. So let's dive right in. Okay, we will first start with Suma. To kick off things, let's welcome our first speaker, Suma Negwara. Suma, with your expertise in LinkedIn and personal branding, could you start by sharing some key elements that make a resume stand out in today's competitive job market?
Yes, definitely, Arohi. I think most of the people think that resume has to look fancy and it has to be a lot of design, use different tools to make the resume better. But that is the one way. But I think what I suggest is having it clearly communicate the values, what you have as experience, that you put it across in a well. That's going to be an important thing. I recommend all of you to address than the design or the format. And here are the few takeaways I would like to recommend all the people when you building your resume is start with a strong summary. I think that should tell you who you are and what you do and what kind of expertise you hold it. That's the first thing. As a strong summary, you should be having it. And always, while building a resume, make sure to use the numbers in terms of, for example, you increase 30% sales in 3 months, something like that. Number should, reflect in your resume than mentioning about the tasks, what you handle. And other things, what I suggest is customize your resume. Don't just keep one resume for every job, JD, or a job which you apply. Tell in a simple way, for example, for any functions we dress, right? For if a different function, we get dressed in a different way. For example, marriages, we get dressed in an ethnic way, and for different function, we dress in a different way. So similar way. So we have to create a resume or customize resume for a different JD. Don't keep the same resume for a things. It doesn't fit for it. And everybody likes when you dress well, right? Same way your resume also should look well. So do a little bit makeup, not too much of makeup, and it has to be customized. How we customize the dress for a function, similar way the resume has to customize for the JD. So don't forget that. I see that some people say I have created my resume, but I'm not getting a result. Same result, same resume, same result. So if you are applying for a different jobs, different resume has to be prepared. So I would like to share that. Ravi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for your response. Next, let's welcome our second expert, Preeti Guruswamy. So Preeti, there's a lot of talk about hidden job market, but there's also a lot of confusion around it. What's the biggest misconception about it, and how can job seekers truly tap into these opportunities?
Biggest misconception of hidden job market is it is not accessible for everybody. I think that is the biggest misconception, which is not true. Right? While I was a hiring manager or I've been hired, I think one of the things that worked for me all through the job changes that I have done is referral. And that could happen only because of the relationships that I have built in right from the day one. So a lot of time when we talk about referrals, we always hear this very often, especially among women, telling that, I don't have the network to go in. I have to start networking today because I want to change job tomorrow. Doesn't happen, right? You should and must consciously start building your relationship, building your different circles. That's what I would say, right from the beginning. Except my the first job, which I was hired as an intern, right? Every other job jump was a referral form, right? There were times that I wanted to move. There were times that, I was not ready to move. Probably I got a call and said, hey, there is this opportunity. Do you want to take it up? So the reason that could happens is because there is a continuous relationship that is being built. I'll give you another example of the hidden job market as well, right? I've been in the entrepreneurship for after the 25 years of my break and since last year. Even today, from some of my senior directors and VP, I recently got a call telling, hey, there's this opportunity. Do you want to grab it? Right? While I had to kindly decline that, telling that because I'm enjoying my entrepreneurship, right? Not because, but she was one of my senior directors who have worked like a decade ago, not like 1 or 2 years back, a decade ago, right? But had consistently kept my relationship with her, right? Whether being updating about me, updating different milestones about my career or life. So that is a conscious, not that I didn't do that because, okay, I want a job tomorrow, right? But it is a conscious relationship. So you need to build different circles of relationship that you need to, and today's environment, unlike the time for me, there's so many communities. HSI is one great community where you can network with each other. So many leaders are coming in to talk to, have that relationship, have the virtual coffee with them. All of them are true, right? So how do you tap the a job that are hidden is only through networking. So it is not that it is not accessible. It is accessible, but you will have to network. And don't network because I want a job tomorrow. Network because it will help you in multiple ways. You could be a mentor for somebody. You could reverse mentor. You will get a mentor. So it has its own benefit. And with all these benefits is where you will be able to tap into the hidden job market.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I do have a follow-up question for both of you. Because Suma, from your answer, I got that, it's very important to customize your resume. And from Preeti's response, I got that you need to have like a relationship. You didn't customize, you need to build relationships. So I think my question to both of you is that, in a world that we're all juggling multiple responsibilities, we have so many things going on. How do we prioritize these things? Because both of these things that you suggested take time. So how do we build time for that? Are there any strategies that you both have, taken on in your life that you could share with the audience?
Sure, maybe I think I use a kind of different strategy. What I do is usually most of the Tuesdays I make it kind of a networking day for me. So wherein I invite 3 to 4 people in my network. Maybe some are known people, some are unknown new people. So I invite for a coffee, for a breakfast, and one for lunch, and one for evening coffee. So I make sure on Tuesday some 3 people. It could be from all levels. Maybe first morning breakfast I meet maybe people who was above my profiles where I can learn from them, and maybe in the afternoon I meet someone who need a help from my end. Maybe at the evening I meet someone who's a student who need my support. So I make sure to network and learn from others, and also help whoever is need my support in terms of a guidance. So Tuesday is my networking day, full day out, and then network and learn and help others.
Thank you, Suma. I think I'm going to apply that. That's a very wonderful strategy that you talked about. Uh, for me, Arohi, I think networking came very naturally. I think I did, and it came right from the beginning when I started my career. And I think my first job shift kind of validated this importance of networking. So, when I was like just 2 years in the industry, learning what industry is, and obviously, that the urge to change. I was doing well in my company, but then, there was always this change that I wanted, and it so happened my colleague referred me to her husband's company, and that then I took up the interview and went in, and she had left the organization, by the way. So, but then I had her connection, and it was not the company that she was working. She had referred me to the company where her husband was working. So, and I didn't even know this person, right? But the lesson that I learned at that point of time is a very important lesson, telling that, every relationship becomes very important, and we need to value it. But when you start looking at, okay, what am I going to get from this relationship? That's where it becomes transactional. Like what Suma said, right? I would network with people from whom I can learn. I would network from people whom I can give, or I could network for the people who needs help from me. So it is always not taking, but it requires a lot of giving also in this whole fact of relationship, right? While I say that, a lot of people have asked, oh, apart from job, should I do networking? Because I don't have time for it. Right? Because my job is very grinding. I don't have time for it. Or, I have something else. I have a child. I cannot do it, right? Just a few minutes before we were speaking with Manjula. Manjula first thing asked us, how was my daughter who was like 5-year-old, right? So we all have it. But I think it's just setting that expectations at home, right? Setting the expectations at work, and also, in terms of developing that relationship. And the reason I say you need to have different network, and I think Suma put it in the same thing in different way, telling that she'll network with different people. For me, is different networks, a circle of networks that I keep, right? There are circle of networks who are like my mentor or coaches whom I reach out to when I'm stuck. There are people, circle of networks that, like, I have built a large women in tech India company, tech India community, right? So there is a network where I have created a support system, or I'm there for them, or they're there for me. It's a community, so we are there for each other. So, and there is also, right, because now I've rebranded myself from being an engineering leader or a tech leader to an entrepreneur. So building a new set of network, attending events, right, finding out where things are there. So recently I was coaching a woman, and she wanted to do a job shift, and one of the thing I told her is, attend the events, be it AWS events, be it events at Flipkart, be it events at any of these tech events, attend there, make yourself present. There are product related details that are given in these events. Learn about them. So every relationship you will learn. So make sure you learn about it. So, it is a very, very conscious, and don't make it transactional, only thinking that I'm going to get out of it. Start giving, you will get automatically.
That's very well said. And I completely agree. Like sometimes networking can feel like transactional and forced. So to build. So how can a professional build a genuine and authentic relationship that can actually lead to real job responsibility opportunities?
So again, one, I think you need to have, and I say this for both internal and external, authentic part of it. First of all, you need to know what's your strengths, right? And what are your values that you represent yourself. And if you are able to talk through and have different pitches that you have a 1 minute pitch, 2 minute pitch, and 5 minute pitch. And the reason I say these 3 pitches are important, not every time you have an opportunity to talk with somebody for more than 5 minutes, right? So you need to be ready. And this is important if even if you're working, because you will have some SVP leadership coming in, some leader will be coming in. So you would have those opportunity to grow your network at that point of time, or represent yourself, right? So how do Suma knows what Preeti is, right? Unless and until Preeti tells Suma what's her strength and values, right? And it doesn't have to be a scripted thing, right? Believe in what you are yourself, right? What's your strength? Identify that strength and talk about it. Today, I think as an executive coach for tech leaders, right? A simple thing, if somebody asks me, Preeti, what do you do? I say executive coach for tech leaders. And if I have to just break this up, right? I'm a coach. The reason I do it for tech leaders, because I come with an extensive experience of 25 years for tech leaders, right? It's just a 20-second pitch that I have for myself, right? Similarly, you need to have those pitches ready, right? And the moment anybody hears tech leaders, then they ask me the further question, which creates an opportunity for me to talk, right? I'm just giving you my live example of how can you be authentic for yourself, because this is my authentic identity, right? And that comes with my strength of my extensive background of 25 years, right? So I am not talking about my extensive background, but that itself kind of helps you. So what you do, you need to believe in that, right? That's where it becomes authentic. It's not like I can give it to ChatGPT, I'll get a script, I'm going to by heart, I'll practice in front of the mirror. Yes, all the mirror part is right, you need to practice it, but before you do all that effort, you need to believe who you are.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So Suma, back to you. So for networking, and a lot of seekers have started using LinkedIn, but many job seekers unknowingly make mistakes on LinkedIn that may hurt their visibility. What are some of the common pitfalls professionals should avoid when optimizing their LinkedIn profiles?
Sure, I think it's a great question. I see many professional, they feel that, their LinkedIn profile is just like a resume, but let me tell you, it's much more than that. And also, I think when I talk to most of the professional and also senior profiles, senior professionals, they feel that they have built a good LinkedIn profile. But when we check their score, then only we get to know where the profile stands, right? And here are the few common mistakes what I see in most of the, including a junior and senior profiles. One is about having an incomplete profile. So they might created an account maybe 5-6 years, maybe 10 years back, but then it's not at all touched, all right? Like a lot of changes happening in a LinkedIn application. Also, a lot of new features are introduced. So if you're not updated all those things, you'll be missing a lot of things. So one, starting from your profile, and some of them might have uploaded the latest photo, or some of them updated the very old photos. I think don't do that. Your picture speaks more than a word or more than your work. So please make sure to upload a nice picture and the latest pictures. Don't keep the old pictures. And next is about not having a good headline, and the biggest mistake what I see in most of the professionals about not writing the about section. About sections is kind of a mini resume I can see in a LinkedIn part. So that's a space where you can talk about your experience, skills, and achievements, any awards what you received. It's kind of everything you can showcase that part. But to be say honestly, if I see 10 profiles of maybe say like 10 to 15 years of experience, not even 1 or 2 profile I can see who has written about section, 8 profiles, not even written a single line, even though they hold a 10, 15 years experience. That's a challenge. That's a problem or a mistake I can see in most of the profiles. So please avoid that. Try to build a about section. It's kind of a mini resume. Don't miss that part. And the second thing is most of the people put a generic headline, kind of just a job title. let me tell you, your job title is not going to fetch any opportunities. Your skills is going to fetch an opportunity. So in a headline, so please make sure to mention the skills, what you hold, and also what value you bring to the table. So please mention that in a headline, just not the job title. And next is about a common mistake. What I see is people just create an account and then go off. No activity on LinkedIn at all. No, that doesn't work. So if you need to post on LinkedIn platform and you need to engage and connect with the peoples. So just creating an account, don't go away. And just to tell you in a simple example, for example, if you work in a corporate, so if you take a vacation or if you take a leave, do we get paid? No, we don't get paid, right? So same thing on LinkedIn. Also, LinkedIn, just create an account and then go away. LinkedIn don't reward you for anything. So how company doesn't pay if you take a vacation? So LinkedIn also doesn't give any rewards if you just have an account and then go away. For example, I created my LinkedIn account in 2016 when I was looking for some kind of opportunities. And for 4 years, just scrolling down, I had a presence, but for 5 years, LinkedIn did not reward me anything, even though I had an account, right? So from 2021 onwards, I've been active. LinkedIn is rewarding me. So what I'm trying to say is just having a LinkedIn account is not sufficient. Just how we get paid from the company if you work, right? So for example, if you come to organization, just chit chat and have lunch and then go off. So what's your manager going to do, right? He says, say, he don't give any kind of appraisal, nothing, right? Same thing, LinkedIn also. If you just have an account, okay, you stay there. You are one of the person in LinkedIn, 1 billion in a database. I'm not going to reward you. You need to work. When you say work on a LinkedIn platform, you means you need to share your experience, share your thoughts, engage in the platform, connect with the people. These are the work, what you can do in a LinkedIn platform to get rewards. It's just like a corporate, how you work in an organization, come to the company, work. Be on the platform, work. When you say work, write a content, engage, network, share, also. When you do all these things, you should be able to get a reward from the LinkedIn platform and avoid those 3 mistakes which I mentioned.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I am definitely guilty of some of those of the pitfalls. Okay, just to quickly pivot here, I feel like many professionals feel stuck in their careers, Preeti, but hesitate to pivot during uncertainty. What is one mindset shift they need to embrace to take that leap?
So I think for those who are stuck and hesitant to pivot, I think the key mindset is to reframe, the opportunity that's coming in your hand. Instead of focusing on what is wrong, instead of focusing on, I'm stuck. The most important part, you need to ask yourself, what's the best that could happen at this point of time, right? This growth, this is the important growth. It helps you to step out of your comfort zone, right? You can start with very small actions that you can take, right? Whether you're networking or tracking your goal. A lot of time, even within the organization, also, right? When I ask my team, like, what's your goal for next 5 years, or like, next 10 years, which is fair enough to say, 10 years is a very long year for me to have a goal, which for my generation doesn't feel like, but the new generation does feel, right? So it's understandable, right? But make sure you do have a 5-year goal. Where do you head to? Right. And the moment you have that clarity, right, and when you keep checking on your vision or your goal that you're coming into, then you won't feel stuck, right? Because you could have been comfortable in a particular role, and now you're asking yourself, is this time for me to shift, right? So even that whole point of asking yourself, what is that I can make use of, best utilize this opportunity for, and that kind of creates a lot of doors to be open for you. I've stayed in Oracle for more than 10 years, around 12 to 13 years, right? And I remember every 2 years within the organization, I had looked out for internal opportunity, and that helped my growth really a lot. Okay. So the fact that, checking in with yourself, telling that, if I'm very comfortable now, it's the time to change, is a good way of saying, I don't feel stuck. You feel stuck because you don't know where to go. Like, if you have to go for vacation and you just say, I want to take a break and go for vacation, don't decide where to go, right? You will again be back into the grind. You won't take that pause, or you won't take that break, and you won't go for that vacation. But when you know where to go, then you will never feel stuck.
Well said. Suma, continuing this question to you. So if somebody wants to come out of their comfort zone, or for those who are transitioning their careers, how can they effectively showcase transferable skills on LinkedIn, even if they lack direct experience in the new field or the new career that they want to get into?
I think one, I would say that we as a women, we take a career break for multiple reasons. That's a fact, and then everyone knows, right? I think, and people in the corporate also, they know the why women take a break. But the thing is, most of women hesitate to share that they're in a career break or when they transition from one industry to other industry. What I suggest is, instead of hiding the change, share that change. That's going to bring a lot of opportunities. When you tell the world that, okay, you're looking for the transition from XYZ role to, say, for example, ABC role, there could be openings in the ABC role instead of just hiding it. So use a LinkedIn platform. In the headline, you can say open for opportunities, and then you can also mention about the transition to the XYZ role, and leverage LinkedIn platform to showcase a skill you will learn. So when you transition to the new different field, right? So you might be learning some things, maybe some certifications or some skill development, upskilling, you'll be doing it. So you can share those kind of learning as kind of a LinkedIn content part, kind of a post or kind of an article, you can do it. And also you can leverage featured section where you can upload the certifications if you have done kind of as part of upskill you've done. And in about section, please highlight that you are transitioning from a XYZ industry, maybe the ABC industries, and during the career break, or maybe the reason for why you're moving to a different industry, and what all the things you've done as part of maybe during the career break, maybe for 3 to 6 months or maybe 3-4 years. Mention the upskill activities, what you've done. So that's going to clearly showcase, no, you're not sitting idle, even though you're changing the different industry, because you're not changing the industry, maybe some XYZ, you're changing the industry because the a lot of things are changes happening in the market, or maybe the technology which you work, you're not liking it. Is nothing wrong, right? So first of all, you accept, okay, you did not like the technology, that's the reason you're changing, or the market is changing, but for that you're moving to a different industry. Please, feel confident on that, and then highlight all those things on a LinkedIn platform. I'm sure with that you should be able to fetch an opportunities.
I love that. Don't hide the change, but show the change. That's well said. Thank you so much, Suma. Preeti, back to you. So for anybody, like again, who are switching their careers or who are re-entering the workforce, one of the biggest challenge for such professionals is salary negotiation. Like, how should they approach salary discussions to ensure they are compensated fairly?
The salary negotiation used to be like, it's always something like in a hidden clause. It's not something you can't get to know. There are a good number of websites like, Glassdoor, levels.fyi is a very nice website which kind of tells an average salary which the industry is having, different roles that you are in a different organization, which you can get into a purview of what could be the potential salary. You may not have the exact part of it. That is one. The second one is, I think, do not hesitate to talk about your salary. Do not hesitate when you network to talk about money with somebody who is there in the industry, right? Unless you do not ask, you will never know, right? Even people within the organization, and I've seen very much common among women, they don't discuss about the salary. Whereas men will know each other's salary very well. Not like they will know the exact part of it. And when it comes to salary, and I was just talking recently for one of the person, and we always think the salary is the C2C, right? What the company costs. But there is a lot more the company gives you apart from the salary. Identify what is employee benefits are, identify what are the leave policies are, identify what are the insurance policies that you get in, identify what are the other benefits that an organization have it, and what are the hidden clause of those benefits. For example, if an employer says that, we are invested in your growth and you can do another study, but that comes with a hidden clause, you should have been with the organization for 1 year. Right? So all of these you need to know before entering the organization, and you have multiple opportunities in your interview, be it with your HR, be it with your TA, with the hiring manager. You can ask about it. It is very important you ask these details and get to know these details. One, during the interview process, if you have to do the research, you have Glassdoor, you have levels.fyi. This is where you get a lot of information. Third one is through your networking. People in the industries, talk to them and be open about it, right? How would you know if it's a very simple strategy, right? You will get to know the details only when you ask. Nobody is going to come and tell you, oh, these are the salaries that is there in the market. No, nobody is going to tell you, right? Given that you're on break,
Yeah.
fair enough, you would be getting into a particular level, right? Ask for that level. Don't go beyond that level, right? It could be an X level that you're going in, right? Whatever you and the employer decided, but ask for that level. Here is the level, and this is what I understand. Why is that my quote is so less? Why is it not up to the market? Because when they hire you, whether you're from career break or whether you're not, you're hired at a level. So any HR or any policy of the organization cannot give you more than that level, right? But there will be a range, right? So see you fit into that range, and you get these details of the range very well available in the market if you look through some research and also talk to different set of people.
Thank you for sharing that, Preeti. I think you're right. Like even when we are filling out, like women filling out job applications or talking to someone, we always like try to sell short. And I think this is a great way of utilizing networking to understand what really our worth is. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, before I close up this session on personal branding, network strategies, and hidden job markets, I have a question for both of you. So job seekers often focus on traditional methods like online applications. What's one unexpected but highly effective job search strategy that most people overlook?
Can you repeat your question?
Okay, so job seekers often focus on traditional methods like online applications. And what's one unexpected but highly effective job strategy that that most people overlook?
I think if you ask me, now online is the one of the option, but I think I suggest to get a quick result, maybe the going with the referral networking, the old traditional method of things, that's going to give a good result, I can see. Over to Preeti.
Yeah, I would definitely say referral has its own credits. So definitely the referral part of it is a traditional non-traditional method. Second one is so the organization, when they create events or set up those events, they are doing that in an intent to identify you in the market, right? So be available there, network with them. And this is where you need to have your pictures ready and talk about yourself authentically, which we spoke about in the events, and connect to the leaders, connect to the HR in those events very consciously, drop in your job profile, but also continue your network with those set of people. Will kind of, and be curious. Be curious when you attend these events, know about different products that they are having. So that kind of builds an enriching connection with them. And also, the referral part of it, that plays a very important role. And one other thing that I want to also let you know is, right, sometimes even before a job ID is created on the website, be it at the job portal or in the LinkedIn, what becomes very important is, I've got and I want, as a hiring manager, I have to fill it up, right? So I will be looking out for the job. If that relationship with this there with me, then, I would call you up even before the ID is created, because I know this is it's just a process for me, right? As a hiring manager. So that's another, and this goes to the fact that how do I tap into the hidden market, right? So that connection, that relationship does and matters. Second important thing, when you're applying in LinkedIn, right? And when you find a job ID, go double check that job ID in the organization portal. A lot of times there could be error. So identify it. Okay, I applied for the job, don't sit at it, right? No, you are applying and it is going to, it's like the temple hundi, you're going and putting your job resume there, right? So in the hope that, somebody is going to pick it up, right? It is difficult. Right. So let's be it honest that, conscious networking, being authentic to yourself, and, continuous relationship building, even after you get the job, also becomes very important.
Thank you, Preeti. Now let's transition to one of the most crucial aspects of job search, and that is interview preparation and confidence building. I love to hear from both of you on this, and please feel to pitch in whenever and wherever. So Suma, let's start with you. How should candidates prepare beyond the usual expected questions to truly stand out in their interviews?
Sure, Rohit. I think what I see is most of the people prepare for most standard questions what they ask in the industry, but for the unexpected kind of questions, people don't prepare. That's where we can see the fail in the job, getting the job. We can say that. What I say is the first thing is to prepare to stand out in the market or maybe stand out in the job interview is prepare some 2 to 3 success stories, maybe in your past experience, a kind of what situation you handle, what strategy you use and solve that problems. It could be small success story or anything. Just have 2 to 3 success stories in terms of maybe the people management success stories or maybe technical management, technical related success stories. Be prepared for that. And the second thing is do kind of a little bit research about recent company challenges or maybe the wins, and see how you can stitch your skills to the challenges or the wins of that particular organization so that it can relate so that you can relate and also influence recruiters saying that you already have a skills to the challenges what company is going through that. And other third one I would say is prepare some questions to the recruiter. Instead of just showing the desperation, okay, I need a job, just show the interest you are interested towards the organization. Have one questions to that. So with these 3 things, basically you can engage with the recruiters. It shows that you are very much interested to the job and you already prepared, you have a knowledge like that. So these 3 things should help at least to some extent, Arohya.
I just have a quick follow-up question to that. So in a success stories, do numbers matter, or anything behavioral or situational is also okay?
I think with the numbers, that's going to be the great advantage if we can share with some numbers. And as you said, like with the behavior, things also should work. But numbers going to give a much weightage than I can suggest with the success stories.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Preeti, we know behavioral and situational interview questions can be very tricky. What's your best advice for structuring strong responses to these type of questions?
Okay. I think I answered it twofolds. Apart from the behavioral part of it, as also would say that, your craft becomes very, very important. Right. Especially if you're applying for technical interviews, you need to be perfect with your craft. Right. Now, as Suma said, a lot of people at times, even in the craft, you prepare only for the ones which are mostly asked questions. It's not the exam part of it, right? It is more than that. So your experience is more important, right? And how do you build this experience? There are a lot of resources like Lead Code, GitHub, if you're on a technical side. Make sure in the Lead Code, there are a lot of problems from the smaller problem to the larger problems. Make sure you are, practicing this every day. Also, make yourself available in these platforms so that, you can solve the problem, just not in one way, but different way, so that when you're asked these interview questions, you would be able to solve for them. Right? Be it, as I said, Lead Code or GitHub. Create your profile just not on LinkedIn. Create your tech profile on GitHub also. Adding there is a lot of open source technology. Adding codes for these and, creating your GitHub profile kind of gives you the craft of what you are having. In LinkedIn, of course, you can share about different technologies that you have learned, like Suma said, certification you have gotten. So that is one kind of profile you're creating. The GitHub profile shows your technical expertise that you have. Now, coming back to your question, Arohi, behavioral questions are the tough questions. And that question is asked even whether you're in level 0 or level, VP level. And the measurement yard for this is different, right? The best things that work is the STAR format. STAR, where you say that it is situational. What is the situation? What are the results? What are the action you took, right? Using the STAR format, and STAR format is very much available. If you just Google it out, right, you will get it. Like Suma said, there are different experiences that you have, stories you have to tell, coming out of your experience. Structure them in the STAR format, right? And every interview, start journaling what went wrong, what would it not go well. That is another part of it. You don't have to get feedback. One is, yes, getting feedback from the panel itself, but you're not getting feedback, that's okay. You know what is right and what is wrong, right? Figure that part of, what's right and what's wrong, that would be happening from the interview, right? Every behavioral question, try to make sure you're putting that in the STAR format. Give the context of whether it is behavior or technical. What is the problem that you are solving for? What are the action you took? And it is okay to talk about your failures. Here are my failures, and this is what I learned from. One thing is that none of us are made with all successes. Most of the time we are made about 90% of failures and 10% of success, right? So acknowledging that and creating that, the story, which is very much yours, and sharing that in a particular format kind of helps you, right? And writing this down matters. Not that, while you can Google out like 10 questions and create this, the situations could be different, but you have a content for yourself or a script for yourself that you would be able to answer the interviewer. Again, very importantly, every interviewing situation, please ask the question to the interviewer. Ask them what are the challenges, why are they hiring you, what do they need out of you, right? Don't just look at, right, what you can give. What are you going to get? It is always a two-way. Interview is not a one-way road. It is a two-way.
Yeah, I love that advice, to be real in the interviews. Thank you so much, Preeti. So my next question is for both of you. Confidence plays a very significant role in an interview. What are some of the techniques or mindset shifts that can help candidates build confidence before and during the interviews?
Sure. I think people think that confidence is just like, speaking loud. I think I say instead of that, speaking calmly with the clarity. So that's going to give increase your confidence, I can say. And to overcome the fear or to increase the confidence, what I suggest is maybe just have a kind of a power posture, whichever you comfortable. Maybe each one have a different kind of power posture. Some people, they say like they use the body language like this and like this. So different person has a different body posture. Identify what is the body posture that's going to give a good energy for you. So please have that. Maybe some people sit tall or maybe walk for 1 or 2 minutes and make the energy in your body. And also I can say the physiology of your body has to be good enough before attend the interview. I think, for example, before I go for my TED talk, I went to my restroom and then for 5 minutes I prepped myself with the power pose like this. So then I went to the stage, right? So each one have their identify your power pose, and that's the first thing. And suggest the second thing is speak to yourself. Don't think always negative. Okay, I'm going to crack this interview. Talk a positive self-talk. Okay, do that. And before go out of the home, maybe I can say do a lot of mirror exercise, kind of the story what you're going to say, or maybe the work experience what you're going to share. So do a mirror exercise maybe more than 5 to 6 times, so that you already rehearsal, right? Like how movie people actors, they rehearse, right, and then come and deliver the thing. Similar way, rehearse in front of the mirror so that you know what you're going to speak. That's going to give a lot of confidence. With this, I think we should be able to address the interview with the confidently.
And If I might add to what Suma said, I think the most important fact of to be confident is the preparation. Preparation gives you a lot of progress, right? And I divide this into kind of a 6-step process. First of all, and I think I've been saying from the beginning, it is very important you identify your strengths and value. Right. So know your strength, make the list of the skills that you're having, your achievements, qualities, and practice self-talk, like what Suma was saying, right? Replace your negative thought process through affirmation, right? I am capable, I am able to handle I will handle these challenges, right? So having that self-talk and reframing it matters a lot. I'm a person who journal a lot, I generally journal quite a bit of it, especially when, and I call this as inner critic, and I've been talking about this inner critic quite common, and I've kind of said I name my inner critic, and people who will resonate, I name my inner critic as Grumpy Gauramma, right? So she can come anytime, right? She's always always with you, right? You cannot get away from her, right? But how do you manage her? Is like the way that you tell her that, I can do this, right? Take that important part of it. Then in the most important, and that's where, prepare is very important to build your confidence. Second one, take action for your preparation. Create small goals that you make progress for this preparation, instead of saying that, I'm going to learn system design in 10 days. No, don't do that. You can't do it, right? How do you learn one? Take simple system design, like system design that you can do for your WhatsApp. What are the different challenges? You would have had your own experience, build in those experience, create it, document it, journal it. So, take action out of it. Right? Each time you do something new, pat yourself. Right? It doesn't have to be people around you. You solved a problem that is there on the lead code, which lead code also gamifies it. Take a credit on it and use the LinkedIn platform on talking about it, right? And continuously build your skill. Identify areas where you want to improve, right? The third one is continuously build your skills and practice your behavioral questions. Start from your community, for people around you, have those conversation looking at them. So that kind of helps you on, how do you set yourself for success, right? And most importantly, and this is very less spoken, is take care of yourself, right? While body language, standing tall, maintaining eye contact, smile, all of these are very good, but sleep, nutrition, and exercise has direct impact on your energy levels and confidence levels, right? Even today, when I'm doing my sessions, I make sure that, I don't just, I make sure that even like for a week, I sleep really well, because, that reflects on me, right? I'm in the verge of, making preparation. If I do it all through the night, like the way I used to do for my exams, I won't deny that, by the way. Right, I used to be up till 4 a.m. Just imagine you're up till 4 a.m. and you're going to go to that interviewer, and you're going to yawn in front of the interviewer, and you feel tired, feel really, really tired. So take care of yourself. That is very, very important. So don't leave away you, right? Because you need to be yourself, and have that confidence, and reframing your thoughts always. I can do it. I will do it, right? And this is nothing. Even if you fail, take that as, instead of saying, okay, I failed in this, but probably I'm not good enough, just reframe this whole question. What can I learn from this experience? And jot that down and prepare for that for the next time, right? So preparation is the key.
I love that. Be yourself. I love these advices. Okay, quick follow-up question to that, to both of you. And this is the personal question too. How much on LinkedIn is too much?
I think it's purely depend on each one has their own way of measuring the thing. So if you ask me, I think to be presence on LinkedIn all the days, that's going to fetch a lot of opportunities. Each one, somebody think, okay, posting on daily, it's too much. Okay, some people, okay, weekly one time I cannot do, that's too much for me, right? Each one has to, and purely depends on what you would like to achieve through LinkedIn platform. If that demands to be available on LinkedIn for most of the time, you need to, be there. Otherwise, the goal or the purpose what you have on your maybe in a career, maybe if that doesn't demand LinkedIn to be available and more the time, you don't need, right? It purely depends on what is the purpose you would like to achieve. It could be on a career journey or it could be entrepreneurship journey. So based on that you decide. But if you ask me, I'm there on all the 70s on LinkedIn. That's I need for that for me, and others can decide based on that.
I think I would plus what Suma said. It completely depends on each person, right? I kind of find today I'm an entrepreneur, and what Suma said, it's very important that you have to be there on LinkedIn. But personally, I feel very overwhelmed. Right. At the same time, I think the best part of it, technology can do the work for you. Right. Utilize those technology to do the work for you, right? All my posts are scheduled. All my posts are scheduled. A lot of people have asked me, like, hey, even on your vacation, your blog came up. How did it? That's because it is scheduled. I'm not sitting there and I'm not doing it, right? So I do pick up one day in a week where I kind of respond. Do I not check every day? I do check every day and do a quick likes and all of that, because it also adds to the algorithms and various other things. But am I there every day? My answer is no. Being an entrepreneur, while this becomes very, very important, but I'm there every day? No, I'm not there. I basically, again, it goes to the fact that delegate. Now, whom do I delegate? Technology. Right. And there is so much of automation, be it LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, where you want to brand yourself. The automation will help you. Just put it out there and set it up for you. Now, if it's very comfortable that you can allocate that time for yourself every day, then do it. So there is no right way or a wrong way of doing anything.
That's true. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay, I have one last question that it hits home, and I want to ask this before we head into our Q&A. And especially this comes from as a woman, often in a workplace, we hear remarks like, oh, you're a diversity hire. And at the same time, studies reveal that AI-driven hiring tools can unintentionally reinforce biases if not carefully monitored. How can women in the job market proactively challenge these stereotypes and position themselves as highly qualified professionals beyond just a diversity statistic?
First of all, let me
I
tell you
think,
this.
yeah, please go ahead.
ChatGPT is highly biased. Right. I was just trying to create an image for one of my posters, telling that, give me a best personal brand poster. And, it was a man who came out. All right. And the moment I say Indian woman, right, she will come with all different stuff to, because of that. So ChatGPT is biased, right? And if that is true, it is biased because it is also developed by a human behind it. It did not emerge by itself. It is when I've been contributing to it, being a technologist, so a lot of people like me have contributed to it. And it is hard truth. We are less in number, men are more. So that is why it is also biased. The fact that every organization are making diversity as an important fact is they're also moving, and it has to be made, because if that is not made, then the diversity number is not going to be filled up. It's a awareness that they are creating. When you're hired, you are not hired, you might be part of the diversity hire part of it, but you are checked on your technical skill, you are meeting the bar, then only you are hired. Right? If the organization doesn't question, as an hiring manager, I can tell you this scenario, and this has really happened. As an hiring manager, once, I was hiring for a tech lead, and it was a senior tech lead. Then I was like, of course, I'm not reviewing. I had done the initial screening, but my team is doing quite a bit. I have my other managers who are like doing reviews of it. And when I asked my TA about, give me the number of resumes that is rejected and number of rounds they have given, when that metric came out, first it was number, then I started asking, can you divide this by the diversity? And I saw there were no women resume. right? The moment you probe telling that, can I get the women resume and give me how many people are there? So first of all, before saying the panel is not ready, there is a problem at the first level only, right? Then at the end of it, we did end up hiring a woman for a technical leader's role because, that was not even their part of it. So having the word diversity in the organization, the organization is also creating that self-awareness among their employees. Even if somebody says that, you be confident to say that you are hired because of your technical skills. If you're a diversity hire, are you somebody's coming and giving you the contract telling that you're there and because you're a diversity, I'm going to hire you? No. You go through the interview process, and if you're not prepared, are they going to hire you? No, you're rejected, right? So you are going through all the processes there, right? It is about if the organization doesn't create, or hiring managers do not create this awareness, given that the pipeline is small, we will still remain small.
Good. Thank you, Preeti.
Yeah, maybe I think from my end would like to add, and that's a fact, it's a truth that people will talk. It's irrespective of you like it or not like it, people will talk. So be prepared for it. One, if they just ignore whatever they speak, I think you remember that you're not, even though you were hired under diversity, but the fact is because of your skill also you got hired. Don't forget that because of the skills you got hired. So share those skills or this expertise, own your stories, maybe within organizations, the skills, because of the skills you got hired. So showcase the skills and in the work, and also leverage LinkedIn platform to showcase the skills by writing a content on the platform. And also this is going to showcase your work is going to speak when you talk about your skills. The work is going to speak, and also you can take a support of the mentors within the organization to come out of all these challenges. But please prepare that people is going to speak, so you have to be prepared, and then and ignore it. I think let people that your work will speak, and you can um, take a support of mentors to overcome all the things, but be confident.
Yeah, and I think there is something that I was teaching my 5-year-old, right? Because, there's a lot today we as a parent, we need to do, right? One of the things I was always telling her, don't focus on your weakness, right? Focus on your strengths, right? And she kept asking me, but this person is going to tease me for that. It is up to you to take that. The moment you say that he said, she said, that means you're accepting it. Like Suma said, just let it go, right? Let your craft, let your skills speak about it, right? The moment you say that this person said, and you accept it, then it becomes a problem. Don't accept it, right? So it is important. It is not important what other people say. It is important how you respond to the situation, right? Have your response very neutral. Have your response very inclusive, right? And be very confident about your skill. So focus on your strengths. People will always focus on your weakness, but you focus on your strengths. And your strength is your brand.
Thank you. Thank you both. Before we move to our question and answers, I quickly want to recap what these two experts shared with us today for all our participants. So these are the takeaways that I got, and please feel free to take your own notes. Preeti mentioned about the hidden job market and how is it accessible to everyone. That is just a misconception. Network is highly important in enriching relationships wherever you are. Don't be afraid to talk about your salary, ask about it, and look into other company benefits too. Structure your experience in the STAR format, and definitely take care of yourself and ignore whatever does not blow your boat. Suma told us that we should keep our CV simple and customize it for different roles. Make sure we leverage LinkedIn properly, complete your profile, add your photo, fill up the sections, add your bio, in whatever phase of your career you are. Build positive self-talk and build your power pose. Both of us told us that it's make time for networking, be a master of your craft, and prepare beyond standard questions. Make the interview a two-way street, and ask the interviewer questions too. Work with affirmations, manifest it, and reframe your mindset. We spoke about a lot of things, and these are just the quick takeaways. Now I'm just gonna quickly admit our two other HR experts, Pial and Annie, in so that we can start taking from the audiences because we're getting a lot of questions from the audience. Pial and Annie.
Hey, Annie and yeah, Annie, good to see you.
Yeah, I think they're in. Pial and Annie, can you hear us? Okay, Annie is here. Good morning, Annie.
Good morning. Morning, Arohi.
Pial is here. I'll let her join. In the meantime, let me. Okay. Before our two HR experts start with their conversation, let's just take the space to talk about the ins and outs of the job market and hiring process. We are going to open the floor for questions from the audience. So if there are any questions that you have, please free to put it in the chat, and our moderators will take it up. The first question that we have, and any four of you can answer it, or all four of you can answer it, there's no strict rule to it. The first question is how to network from the people from whom you learn.
Question is how to network with the people from whom you learn. Is that the question?
How to network from people from whom to learn. Like, where do we know where the learning
Where
is?
to
Who is
network?
the right person to network? What are we? And I know, Preeti and Suma, you mentioned it very clearly that it should not be transactional, but then also it has to be very intentional because we all have limited time.
Absolutely. Arohi, I think you have already restated what Preeti and Suma had shared, and I was very intently listening to it. In fact, a great session, Preeti and Suma. I really loved all the pointers that you have given, and I was wondering what other question can come, which you guys haven't covered. So, yes, I would repeat what the panels have already said, is be intentional about who you network with. If you are clear about what you want to achieve, what your goal is, so that is where, your network should begin, is specific to the area. But again, over and above that, I would say be open about your networking. Don't limit yourself to a specific skill or specific domain area. Be open about networking because you never know what new things you can learn, and possibly a shift in your skill also that could eventually happen. Because these days are days where people pick up new skills. Being an engineer, people pick up digital marketing or any other forums where the career is growing. So my thought would be open about networking. Besides having a certain specific focus on what you want to achieve, but keep your networking channels open. You never know what you get from sources that you never thought you could gain from.
Yeah, I think I would add to what Annie would have said, right? I think having at the beginning also we said having clarity on your goal kind of helps you for the network. Like, if you're a data scientist, right? You need to have the clarity that, okay, then I'm going to network with people, especially because you're saying you're learning. So, the domain skills that you would learn. At the same time, be versatile, right? There could be opportunity that you would learn differently. And never ever forget your strength wherever you go, right? Because if you tell your strength, you would be able to talk and learn from other people and learn from others' experience. So have your questions prepared that what has been their learning experience, what they would have done differently, right, if they had an opportunity. Right. A lot of time we always look at, okay, why is this person and how is this person successful? But every success person will have a story, what they could have done differently if they had an opportunity, right? That kind of is also a good lessons to learn from it. Be it technical, non-technical, it doesn't matter. right. It's about asking the right question while you are having your network.
I could just add to this, and thanks, Preeti, and I'll just talk about the how, maybe because some of us on the logged into the conversation might also be thinking, what are the next steps? And sometimes that's how I also think. So one could be that you do list down everybody that you know. Could be your alumni, could be an employee from your erstwhile organization, your friends who are into certain careers at this point in time. Anybody and everybody that you know, of course, who are relevant to the conversation. Then you break it down to who are your personal contacts. It could be your brother working in X company or Y company. It could be a friend from school. Who are your operational contact? People who you know through the way of maybe in your earlier jobs, etc. Any forums or industry forums where you met them. Those are your operational with who you possibly connected for your day-to-day work. And third, identify people who could be a part of your strategic network. Your ex-manager from your erstwhile organization, or somebody who's doing really well from your networks and is at a high, at a senior level position, is a center of influence. Those are your people who can be potential strategic networks, who have vertical influence and understand the landscape very well to give you a worldview. Create a list, identify personal, operational, strategic, have that conscious thought and planning that in this week I'll reach out to three people and talk about my goal, what is it that I'm looking for, and where can I create that reciprocity in terms of what is in it for them also. Remember, and I'm sure all of us ladies on this call, as mentors, we also learn immensely from our mentees what's going on the ground. So it works both ways. Always remember that you're not looking at a favor, you're also strengthening the experience of your mentors. So just wanted to share the go about on how to identify people to get mentoring. Thank you.
Thank you for all of you sharing the great insight. And just to add a bit from my end, so let me tell you, don't dig the well when you're thirsty. Keep your well ready. So for example, if you lost a job or you're looking for a job, maybe 1 year, 2 year, no. Keep your network ready. So keep your LinkedIn well ready. Keep your networking well ready. So whenever you need, right? So you can take a water and drink. Similar way. So keep the networking so that, as Preeti said in the beginning, from her beginning of career, everything is a referral, networking. She got every opportunity, right? So it works. I think most of the women, we take a step back. Okay, when it comes to networking, do we need to invest a time? Is it really works or not? So we all sitting here, it really works. So we are telling with the experience, but please don't hesitate. Network works. So keep your networking well ready.
I love this. I love all the different four perspectives. Thank you all for sharing. And next question is, so a person says, 25 plus years media professional here with some career gap of about 6 years in between. Meaning I'm applying for roles where others are younger but have a similar experience. I hear from interviewers that they are not sure about my fit due to my age. I may not fit into a younger team. How do I convince and navigate this? In most cases, I've had landed the interviews through internal referrals, but unable to get shortlisted. What should I do?
I think for starters, and I'm sorry, who has asked this question? Do you have the name out of it?
No, it just says
Never
makeup.
mind. So you out there, I think I totally hear you, and it's very unfortunate that somebody is assessing us depending on our basis, our age. I think that's a bit unfortunate. Having said that, there are biases that exist, and that sometimes becomes a roadblock in our own journey and the way we want to do things. Seema, great. I think the question came clear. Maybe what you could do is, and I'm just thinking aloud that if I were you, what would have I done? I would have taken a step back and I would have looked at my resume. How have I really structured my resume in terms of skills and skill based actions? And the second step would be because you're landing an interview, but I would still say that you do pay some more heed to the skills that you mentioned there. And then the second part could be when you land the interview, irrespective of the methodology possibly the recruiter is owning, you could navigate the conversations using the STAR approach, which is wherein you talk about behaviors or situations in the past wherein you have demonstrated those skills very positively and have had a positive impact. Uh, that could bring the conversation around your skills to the forefront and possibly take the age aspect a little behind. Today, the way the world is moving, and I'm sure some of this is also going to change, we are looking at diversity and generational diversity, wherein we are all apart by a couple of years, etc. That also has a huge advantage in terms of the seasoning, the skill set, that possibly a slightly senior professional brings into the workforce. So it does create the balance. And if you could bring that in your narrative in a way that helps, I think that would also help. The third thing that I'd like to say is that do build connections with your recruiters. I would say that while you stick to the transaction in terms of how to land a job, other than that, also you might consider engaging with recruiters or engaging on LinkedIn through articles, through posts on possibly various relevant domain topics, diversity, and so on, and genuine connections with recruiters to strike a relationship and to possibly get better visibility and better chances for a rounded conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, I would add to what Payal said, because today's generation, and this wasn't true before, we have 5 generations together. In fact, the last article that I wrote on LinkedIn was, how do we harness the generation wisdom as a leader, as an employee, part of it. I completely hear what Seema said, right? There has been a break, there has been challenges, but you have 25 years of rich experience, right? Just to look at it, have you evaluated a job opportunity, or you under evaluating yourself on a job opportunity? You'll have to look at that as well, right? Most of the time, we under evaluate ourselves for a job opportunity, and then we feel that, oh, maybe I could have got it better. Right. So review what you're doing. And this is where it becomes very important to reflect every opportunity that you're getting, reflect what you're going through. And when you have your narrative right, why you're there in this particular, because you're landing into a job interview, that itself is your 50% success. Right. Then the other 50% is what you will have to ace is, how do you tell your story? Like, I think a star is there, bar is there. So there are tons of those formats available. And as I told earlier, prepare. Write it down. Write your own story down. Right. But write it down. Right. You don't have to carry that, read that, and do it. It just registers. A simple example. And I keep asking this everybody, and the answer, no, everybody has the same answer. How many times have you written ABC in your early years? Tons of times, right? So I'm sure you didn't learn. None of us here are a prodigy, or even the prodigy also has done that tons of times. Right? So write your own story down. The moment you write it, it gets registered. Right? As soon as you register, and don't under evaluate yourself. First and foremost, while you're applying for a job, evaluate yourself. Don't under evaluate yourself. Look at your power, and it is okay if the job profile is little more than your profile, because it shows that your ability to learn. Don't look at like 10 things. Oh no, I'm not taking all the 10 things. You're taking 5 things or 4 things, go ahead. It's okay for a job profile which is more than you, because look at it in different. If you're going through, you're going to get a higher salary, you're going to get a higher job. You've done one year of promotion already, right? You don't have to struggle again for that part of it. So you have the ability to scale your career. Nobody else has it.
Fabulous points, Preeti and Suma, and sorry, Preeti and Piali, who were just shared. When I'm listening to this question, I possibly have a question back in my own mind. And all of us are answering from a certain perspective. I'm not sure, in your 25 years of experience, what knowledge and what specific domain expertise that you have gained. Taking from Preeti's point, of evaluating yourself. I think it's a very, very important aspect. Also, please, when you are going for an interview, do ask for a feedback. Um, Given that you would have known the recruiters, and like Piali mentioned, establish a relationship with the recruiters, which is not just about being very, very transactional, but going beyond it, where they are more comfortable sharing with you a feedback on your interview and how you have performed. Two things to look at is, where was the position or the profile that you're applying for, does that really do justice to the kind of skill and expertise you bring with 25 years of experience? Are you aiming for something lower than what you really deserve? That's one thing to check back on. And second, when you seek feedback, you will really know what could have gone better in your interview. The way I'm seeing today, most of the corporates, and I do agree that there are challenges. I do agree that there are a lot of questions and possibly some aspects of ageism happening in some of the interviews. But it is also important for you to know that today the corporate world is very open to hiring diversity, also bringing back women with the career break. So evaluate beyond what you are assuming could be some of your challenges. Evaluate beyond that. Ask for feedback and get more clarity in how your interview performance can improve. I would leave it at that. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have a lot of time, so I can just take one more question. And this question is very different, but very real. So the person writes, I share my learnings from various events on LinkedIn. I believe in growing and sharing the benefits with others. Generally, people are appreciative, but some people share comments like, every time I open LinkedIn, I see you, or don't you have work? You're always on LinkedIn. These are men and women in professional forums who say in front of many people. Can you please share some tips on how to respond to such comments?
I think I would like to take up this question. Maybe I think I hear with many women, like, they're getting these comments in organization, maybe it's from the colleagues or maybe from the managers, things. But let me tell you, I think I really appreciate, okay? So when you're writing a content and you're getting a lot of appreciation, so you are a person who not only on LinkedIn platform, you're a next level, you're showcasing your expertise and sharing the things, right? And other person who is commenting, let me tell you, those are the people who are just there on LinkedIn platform scrolling and don't have a capability to write a content on LinkedIn platform. So be proud yourself. So, and continue that. Don't give up because people are commenting on it. That's the first thing. And second thing is, if you want to give back the answer, this LinkedIn is everything, AI, automation, a lot of things are happening. Right? You don't need to sit in front of a LinkedIn for 24/7. There's an automation tool. You tell that I've scheduled my content. I don't need to sit. Maybe you are sitting, you're seeing my content. I'm not. I've done and dusted. I scheduled my content. So you can respond in that way, saying that you're using your automation tools. I think maybe I think others can add comments.
I can add it. I think I told this earlier also. Don't receive it. The moment you receive, you take the ownership of it. Right. There is always a positive and the negative feedback. And as Suma said, there are a lot of people. And most of the time, what people say, and I've learned this a lot through my experience, and I resonated when Suma said, right? Most of the people who comment there, I don't have anything to do. So that's why they're commenting on it. Talk about themselves, right? If somebody is saying that you don't have any job to do, that means that person is talking about themselves. So, first and foremost, don't receive it. You don't have to justify the world who you are. You need to believe who you are. That's all, right? The moment you believe who you are, the rest of the world will be all right. The more you go into justifying, you get into a loop, and that goes nowhere, right? So first and foremost, don't receive it. That's what I would say. Right. Yeah, I mean, the challenges are always there. I mean, I did in terms of, last 2 years, I've done this initiative called 100 Days on LinkedIn, where, we are like 5, 7, 10 women putting together every day one post on technical experience, everything. In fact, what happened this 100 days of LinkedIn, which I drove, like, around 7 women coming together and putting the post and tagging each one of them, everybody were appreciated at workplace. They said your content was absolutely wonderful. people who appreciated did not like the post. Let me tell you that. And this is what all of them came and told. Nobody told like those posts, but the amount of appreciation. And one of the managers also said, "Oh, I didn't even know that you had this skill." Right? So receive what is important. Others you could leave it. Right? It's your not responsibility to answer the world. If you want to succeed, first important thing is believe in yourself. The world will believe.
I love that. I love that.
Maybe I think I would like to share one picture here. I think since we come to the end of it, I think there's other panels are waiting. So just let me know if you're able to.
You can share the screen.
Yeah, can you just confirm? Okay, I hope everyone is able to see the screen. I think we are talking about LinkedIn and job, everything. What I suggested with my experience. So we do every year, once in a year, Varmalakshmi Puja. Instead, I suggest, so all the people who are the job seekers, maybe entrepreneurs or anybody, do LinkedIn Lakshmi Puja and every day for a half an hour, because LinkedIn Lakshmi is a kind of way she can give you the job, business leads, internship, or maybe the collaboration or branding, many more things, right? So let's do a Varma Lakshmi once in here, but let's do LinkedIn Lakshmi Puja every day, minimum 30 minutes or whatever it works for you, 20 minutes of things. So that's going to fetch a lot of opportunities. With this, I think wish you all the best. I can stop the share.
Well, awesome. That brings us to the end of today's masterclass, the track one. A huge thank you to our incredible speakers, Suma and Preeti, for sharing their valuable insights and being so real and candid and asking us to normalize this real and candid behavior in the job prep area. Thank you so much, both of you.
Most welcome.
Thank you, Arohi. Thank you for having us here. Thank you, Manjula. You've been an amazing moderator. Thank you so much, Arohi.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, team. So while I'm just thanking our panelists of Suma and Preeti, wonderful session and a lot of insight ending with Lakshmi Puja on LinkedIn to do about it. Thank you so much for just bringing that story in reality. How do we do it in a daily tips? And welcome another two impeccable speakers where I know them in person and I know them and they've also, in fact, PL has been probably it's the third time we are just connecting with the session part of it. That's PL all about. She comes and then just captivate the audience saying that hey, this is what it is. And welcome PL for again coming back and holding our community. It is pleasure to hold you and then take insights every time. So that's the beauty of it. And Annie, and thank you so much. I just called you, said yes. That's the beauty of it. Thanks. And Annie is a known person for me for other reason. That's the more resonating with me. She is a marathon runner where she runs like crazy, and that's another one we can just explore from her. Her commitment on that is a really incredible. Morning 5 o'clock she just hits and runs. 5 o'clock hits and runs and 7 by 24. Happy to see that and inspiring us for that as well, along with your career. And after 9, you just call her. It's hard to reach her, busy on the call. So that's Annie all about. So thank you, two of you, joining with us. And thanks, Suma, and thanks, Preeti, for being with us. And I'll just leave Arohi with you now to just take it forward and wishing you all the best. And thanks for being with our community. You are the inspiration for all of us. And thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Manjula.
Thank you. Over to you, Arohi.
Thank you. Okay, so we've had some incredible insights so far on resume building, personal branding, LinkedIn branding, job search strats. Now we're thrilled to bring in our two seasoned HR professionals who have extensive experience in talent acquisition and career development. And it's a good segue into our next session because these are the people who are sitting on the other side reading our resumes. So, joining us today, we have Annie Acharya, a dynamic HR leader with extensive experience in talent strategy and people management. She has a master's in psychology, MBA from ICFAI Hyderabad, and certification from TIS Mumbai. She comes with 20 years of experience in human resource in various industries, including IT, pharma, semiconductors. Currently working as a director HR in a semiconductor company, she is also very passionate about pursuing her hobbies, which includes long distance running and painting, like Manjula mentioned. We also have Pial Malhotra, a distinguished HR leader with a wealth of experience in talent development and workforce strategy. Pial is a director of global talent development Cognizant, bringing years of expertise in shaping high-performing teams across banking, insurance, and technology solutions industries. With a deep understanding of recruitment trends, leadership development, and organizational growth, PR has played a key role in driving impactful talent strategies at a global scale. Together, they will provide HR-specific insights into what hiring managers are looking for these days and how you can stand out in today's competitive job market. So thank you to you both for being here, and let's dive right in. Okay, my first few questions are going to be for both of you on resume optimization and job search strategies. And starting is from an HR perspective, what are the top 3 elements that make a resume stand out in a competitive job market?
Maybe I could take that. And one, Manjula, thank you for inviting us. And I'd like to tell all of us attending this masterclass right now that this is our community, one for another. You and I make this crack. Second, as much expertise as we hold, one is constantly learning from each other. So there's so much that we're looking forward to you also to contribute and tell us in terms of how it's going for you. Coming to the question, I think before you start thinking about 3 elements and where does your resume stand out, first let's talk about your headspace, my headspace. Something, because most of us are returning from something that we were doing, returning to the workforce possibly after a gap and so on. Something that you need to affirm to yourself and believe is that you totally deserve this. You're out there, you're willing, and you are there to raise your hand and bag that job that you deserve. That is where you start from and look at the resume. Do not start from a place of loss. That, oh my God, I've lost 3 years. Oh my God, I've lost 5 years. No, you were doing something which was way more critical. Maybe you were a caregiver. Maybe you were raising a child. Maybe you had a personal challenge. And remember, there were skills that you're utilizing there. So that headspace and that affirmation that you deserve it all is where you start as far as the resume is concerned, and look at the tactical things that you bring into your resume so that it stands out and it gets picked by the right people. Again, I tend to talk in bullet points. The first thing that you could do is you can look at ATS friendly formats, which is your application tracking system friendly formats, which works for humans also and digitally also. You would get these from Microsoft, Indeed, myresume.com. Very simple formats, calls you to use standard fonts like Calibri, Arial, Times New Roman, etc. Keep a lot of white space because people want to read less and know more from you. You are the star. So, I mean, your resume is the enabler. So please remember that and stick to minimalistic design. So that's one. Second, I'd say do make space to ensure you're writing about your highly transferable soft skills, which is agnostic across different kind of jobs or roles you could be doing, and then your tech skills. So it's a combination of your skills, and remember to use those keywords. Third, always quantify your achievement. I led a project which led to 20% efficiency. Led a project. So start with those action words and talk about a metric there. Quick tips for you to ensure that your resume gets seen for the right reasons. Annie?
Yeah, really lovely points. The 2 other things that I can think of is please do a research on the job that you're applying for. And there are many channels like Piali mentioned, there is Indeed, there is Glassdoor, there are many avenues available including LinkedIn where you can do a research of the job that you're applying for. Get to know people that who are playing those roles in those specific companies. If you're able to connect with them over LinkedIn, even better. So that's the first thing about doing a research for the job that you're applying. And second, seeing the gap what is the job asking for, what do you have, and what you do not have. And like Piali mentioned earlier, you don't have to look at meeting all 100% of the list. It's okay even if you do not meet 100% or 90% of the requirement in the job, but always have this confidence that if you have the right aptitude for the job, you could be the candidate that the company could be looking for. Technical skills are trainable, but behavioral skills are not trainable. Rather, they take a lot of time to get trained. So have the right positive attitude, the energy when you're going for an interview. You never know, you could be the candidate who could, clear all the marks for the interview.
Just a quick follow-up question to both your responses. So, artificial intelligence AI is now playing a major role in hiring process. Is this true? And would just with the points that you said, if you just follow those, would it be okay for a person who's seeking a job to get picked by AI?
Oh, yeah, I mean, 100% true. AI has a huge role in screening candidates today, as we all know. And it's not something that we should be fearful of or think, oh my God, it was great if there was a person doing it. Remember, that person also goes through fatigue at the end of the 8-hour shift or the 9-hour shift, and might as well just knock off a couple of resumes there. I mean, with all due respect. So it's a tool that enables to pick the right resume, which means as job seekers, you and I are responsible to ensure that we are using the best practices that we are bringing in our resume so that our resumes get picked up by the AI also, which means a lot of thought on what is the structure of your resume. For example, am I using the right keywords? Don't do keyword stuffing, right? A lot of keywords in one go. It confuses the AI like it confuses a human. So keep it simple and specific. Choose an AI friendly resume format because that's how the trackers intend to, pick it up. Uh, ensure that the readability is there from a human standpoint, from a AI standpoint. Your categories are there, your standard section headings are clearly mentioned, you have concise bullet points are there, and avoid graphic images, big graphic images, etc., because that's where the AI gets a little bit of confusion. I would always recommend you to use strong action oriented languages, sentences that start with a verb, led, analyze, created. These are the verbs that you possibly start with. And ensure your resume is ATS optimized and error free. Today, there are tools where you can run your resumes on this and see if it works or not. So if you go to again Indeed or some of these platforms, you can see if your resume is passing the cut or not. So do ensure that you're spending some time and energy there and sequencing the messaging in a way that is AI friendly and human friendly. Needs a bit of conscious effort and planning to get the resume.
Thanks, Pial. Okay, so my next question is, and this is carry forward to the conversation we've already had. Suma mentioned that it is very important to customize your resume to every job, to most of the job descriptions. So how should job seekers tailor their resumes to align with specific job descriptions? Like, what are the different customization points that they should be looking at, and also staying authentic to their experience?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Piali. Yeah.
After you, I thought your screen is frozen, so I took the lead, but after you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Pierre. I think some of it has already been answered earlier. Stay authentic to your experience. Please do a research on the job that you're applying for to know what the job exactly requires. It's also important that when you're doing a customization, the customization should mostly be aimed at keeping the format simpler and to the point. Like Pial had mentioned earlier, keep your actionables, what your key accomplishments have been in your past job roles that you have managed. My take on the customization piece would be keep it simple to the point, and the work that you have actually done, the accomplishments that you have achieved, any recommendations in terms of the work that you have done by your seniors and people who you have worked with, that would be great. But that is the only customization that you would need to do. Avoid putting in things that you haven't worked in, but which you feel can get you the job. That really doesn't help during an interview. Over to you, Piyal.
Thank you, Annie. And I'll just possibly sum up because some of us may be listening to this for the first time. So, possibly just a couple of bullet points to wrap the conversation with. For starters, analyze the JD. Don't be in a rush to apply first. Give it some time. What is the JD talking about? What are the identified key skills, qualifications, and experiences the employer is looking for? What I do is highlight the keywords and phrases that are mentioned there. Second step, very logical. You have seen the JD, analyzed it. Now you will match your skills and experiences. So focus on the ones line objectively with what you have done. Use the same languages and use the same language and terminologies to create resonance for the human also to pick it up, for the AI also to pick it up. Third, and very important, that many of us miss sometimes, that I've already given everything, what is there to create a summary? But it shows right on the top of your resume. It's important that you have a human voice to kind of write your story to reflect the specific jobs that you're looking forward to apply for. Remember, it's just not a LinkedIn page or a Word document that defines who you are. What is your story? What is that unique thing that you bring in? So, if you were to talk to somebody you really like and love, how would you talk about your profile and skills? That is the language that you use in your summary. Highlight relevant achievements. And do remember to include a skill section which talks about the specific skills that matches the JD. It does help the hiring managers and ATS to see what that you have necessary skills required for the job. Uh, Stay true to yourself. And finally, last but not the least, proofread and edit language, grammar, sequence, structure. These are basics. I mean, like before we eat food, we should wash our hands, even if you're eating spoon, like that's how in Indian, right? So I think when it comes to resume building, that's something that you can never. I mean, I would find it a huge put off if I were to see a resume wherein there are grammatical errors, etc. So be mindful of that. That's a wrap on this question. Thanks.
Okay, I want to move on to interviewing and hiring trends now. The first question on the last section is, what are some lesser known but highly effective interview techniques that candidates can use to leave a strong impression? And both of you can answer, or Annie, you can go first.
Sure. Thank you, Arohi. I think one of the important aspect would be to do thorough research on the job application that you are going for, and speaking about what you have done, what you have accomplished, what have been your own key contribution, rather than talking about what the team achieved or what we achieved. So please be specific in your interview thing, that in terms of what you have contributed in your past job, roles that you have played. So one of the most effective, I would say, technique when you are giving an interview is being yourself. You don't have to, bring in experiences that you have not worked in. So please be yourself. That is one of the thing many of us miss out on when we go for an interview, is being yourself. So go with what you have to give to the company, and remember that as much as you want the job, the company also wants to hire the best talent. So keep these two things in mind when you go for an interview, that as much as you are seeking the job, the employer is also seeking a good talent like you. Yeah. Over to you, Piyal.
Thank you. Adding to what Annie very rightly said, what I'd like to tell you is that your achievements, your accomplishments, your prior job experiences, all of that showcase your success and the cognitive ability that you qualify for the job. If you were the hiring manager, what are you really looking at? You are possibly looking at what are the skills she deployed to be able to do the job better. So the academic, cognitive, all of that is there. So for the hiring manager to know your skills in difficult situations, any sort of situation at work, you or I as a job seeker needs to talk about it. And how do people remember or retain? You all, each one of us do remember stories, don't we? A story well told, a movie, a book, it always stays with us. We have these visuals in head. So you and I need to ace our storytelling skills. And which is the most important story in our lives? It is our own story, right? So how do you bring the attention of the hiring manager to behavior-based skill demonstration? So take them to a situation wherein you demonstrated your domain skill, wherein you demonstrated a professional development skill. It could be problem solving, it could be conflict management, and weave a nice story around it, highlighting the keywords in your narrative. Because people remember stories. Who remembers just plain text out there, right? I think that is a great differentiator when it comes to cracking some of these interviews. And I time and again say, as much with the advent of AI, digital technology, etc., what will always stand out and stand apart is the human voice. So be very, very out there, build on your storytelling skills and picking up from Annie, stay authentic to who you are because there are two people who need it. The job seeker needs the job giver needs somebody to do the job. So we are equals there. Thank you.
That's very important to know for somebody who's going for an interview.
Yes.
Okay, Pia, my next question is for you. So as an HR, when you're looking at gaps in the resume, what are you thinking and how should candidates handle gaps in their resumes, whether it's due to personal reasons or career breaks or layoffs, etc.?
Okay, look, I think this is what we need to know. Whatever reason you took a gap for, and I did mention it, but I'm calling it out again. It could be that you were caregiving, you were raising a child, there was a restructuring in your organization, it was COVID, some of these reasons, or maybe relocation to a different country, city, marriage, some of those milestones that maybe we sometimes choose to drop our jobs because we are prioritizing a personal aspect or a personal goal. And that itself is a great mark of somebody who's able to strike a balance between their personal and professional lives. So you need to be extremely proud and firm about the decision that you've taken. If I was taking care of my ailing father, should I be ashamed of it or should I be proud of it that I ensured that during his sickness and illness, I gave him care? And think about the skills that it takes. It takes a whole lot of empathy, problem solving, critical thinking, conversational skills, networking with doctors, families, etc. So all your transferable professional development skills are in play continuously right at your home. Now, the same you can juxtapose to any other reason why you quit a job. It could be raising a child, etc., etc. Think about the skills that you need there. So your domain skills anyway stay constant, right? If you've done your BTech, that's not going anywhere. But you kept building on your professional development skills. So be extremely proud and in sync with yourself for having taken the right decision. Which means, number one, you and I promise to be honest and transparent there. There's nothing to hide. There's only to show and tell. Number two, explain the gap very well. Tell the story. Why? What did you do? And what did you learn? And what were your insights into that time? What were those relevant skills that came in play? Uh, Third, and it's more resume oriented. If you have had a significant gap of 4, 5 years plus or whatever, include that in your cover letter. Put that on your cover letter. Give a little description of what was the career gap looking like, because that is your achievement also, since it was helping you meet your personal goal. And do focus on your skills and achievements in your resume and in your interview, because you are your skills and achievements, and you don't get defined by not going to work for three years or 2 years or whatever it is, right? You're the person you are and the skills that you hold. That's what I could recommend. Thank you.
Lovely points, Piali. I was just kind of resonating with every point that you shared. I'll only like to add one thing here, and the moment that you mentioned about feeling proud of the gap that you have for the reasons that you took the gap for, and however long it is. I also want to stress on one thing that or having gaps in career is normal. Today, women have gaps in career, men have gaps in career. It's normal. But what you do during that gap, and how you come back to the corporate field or come back with some other aspirations that you have. And if you do not, work towards your aspiration, that's what is not normal. But having a gap is very normal. So please be very confident, even if you have a gap that does not in any way undermine you as a candidate or as a future employee.
Thanks so much for both of you sharing that. Annie, the next question is for you. How important are soft skills in hiring process today, and what are some underrated qualities that recruiters are looking for?
I think that, see, when it comes to soft skill, one of the key soft skill that stands out in an interview is your presentation skills, your communication skills, how well you articulate. So that's something that is non-negotiable. And sorry, what was the next question? What was the second part of the question?
What are some underrated qualities that HR professionals look for?
Underrated qualities is the listening quality, how well you listen. Often during an interview, a candidate feels that I have to speak more. Not required. I mean, speak when there is a question that requires you to speak. There could be moments where the interviewer could be sharing something about the job, about the company culture. So, how actively you listen also decides whether that's the job you want or you do not want that particular job. So, be very good in listening, besides being articulative in what you share.
I could just add to that, Annie, and that's a great skill, listening, because all of us are so eager to talk. It's important to take the pause and listen. Just one bit that I could add is one underrated skill and very important life skill is to be able to demonstrate vulnerability, which means the ability to say, look, I failed in my last stint, I was doing this project and I failed here. And I have had learnings. And I think this is what I could do differently. That creates vulnerability based trust and that ensures that we're all human. I'm not here to say the last 20 years has been like has been like superlative and I've done everything well. But so many times I fail and I'm glad I failed. And I'm sure if you look back, you'll have those tiny instances wherein you failed and it only propelled you further. Think about your kids when they fall, when they fail, the learnings they have. So I think do not hesitate. Talk about your vulnerabilities out there, where you fail, what could you have done differently, your insights, and so on. People find it very relatable, and people love to interact with people who can demonstrate vulnerability. Thank you.
Love that. Okay. Now I want to quickly move to LinkedIn and personal branding, and we had an entire track in this where Preeti and Suma talked about it, but I want to get like an HR perspective on it. So how often do recruiters check LinkedIn profiles before making hiring decisions, and what are some of the key things they look for, and what are some of the red flags that HR professionals notice on LinkedIn profiles?
If I could possibly share, I think today about 70% data says, and LinkedIn data says 90% of times the hiring is happening, the source is really LinkedIn. People, recruiters are looking at LinkedIn, which means that you and I need to be very, very clear about what's going up on LinkedIn and what is the story out there. Tactics, please ensure that your professional headshot is there. Don't put a random picture. I'm not saying that it needs to look absolutely prim and proper. It needs to look you. Put a professional picture out there because that's where 14 times more your profile will get picked up if you have a profile headshot picture there. Do ensure your headline is described nicely to the role you play and to the person that you are, because that's where you can use relevant keywords and that reflects on what you do in your current role or what you're looking forward to do. And headline is also most searched for by recruiters. Summary always in human voice. Do not use generic business language and buzzwords. Stay away from what is that? Motivated to, strategic, creative, like overuse of some of these words. Stay away from it. Tell us what did you do? Where was that action? What is that you really do that you think that it motivates or you're passionate about something instead of using those words? Be consistent with your experience and the job titles. Those are checks that you run. Ensure that your skills and endorsements are listed well and that validate your experience. And finally, do ensure that your recommendations are there. it just adds to your credibility, right? If your ex-manager or peer or somebody kind of talks about it, I think just helps you. What you need to avoid, honestly, I think inconsistencies, unprofessional elements, and overuse of buzzwords. That's what I would say. Thank you. Annie?
I think you've summarized all the points. I was thinking about sharing about two things. One is the importance of recommendations, and from people whom you have worked with. The recommendation should come with people who have experienced you in your work life. Please avoid having recommendations with whom you have not had any working relationships, because then the LinkedIn profile doesn't look authenticated, right? And second thing I would say, I would just stressing on Pial's point, is the picture that you put up in LinkedIn. It has to be professional. Avoid putting in a picture that looks random and non-professional. So that speaks a lot about you as a person, how professional you would be. That's about it. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay. I want to move, but before that, I have a question on networking. And last two speakers emphasized a lot on networking and how, it doesn't have to be transactional and you need it. Like, even if you want to spend 1 day out of 7 days or like 30 minutes on it, it's just very important. So, and it's like they said, it's also like often cited as the very key to job search success. What are some authentic ways job seekers can engage with recruiters without seeming too transactional?
I think, look, whenever we are trying, so there is a transaction involved. You're looking for a job, and there is a person out there in the form of a recruiter who possibly can bring you the job, right? But remember, as the transaction is happening, there are two people connecting. And for humans, the biggest need is to have meaningful connections, or else it doesn't stick with us and last with us. As many times the word networking is used, very often it is used from a transaction standpoint. That I will network with you because I get this or you get that. Networking, on the other hand, is a very, very relationship oriented exercise, which means I am genuinely interested in you and your body of work and where that leads. Which means I'm looking at opportunities to engage with you, wherein I learn about your body of work, who you are, and what motivates you. So if it is your recruiter, what is it that you're seeing of this person? Possibly on LinkedIn, you see the media, you see the posts that they put, any industry trends, etc. So engage with them on LinkedIn or any other forums that you possibly can. Add relevant comments. You can add relevant posts and tag your recruiters and ask for their comments. And whenever you get an opportunity, so when you network, you actually do put out intention there that, look, Annie, I think we had a great conversation. I'd like to connect with you sometime next week if we have time. And when Annie I talk, I do put out my goal very clearly that, Annie, I'm looking at some great advice from you in terms of how do I look at my career. So that's a career journey advice I need. So be very specific and clear about the goals that you have. And relationships get formed on reciprocity. It's a two-way thing. So what can I offer Annie in return? And in meantime, I could also possibly tell you what are the things that we're doing today at Cognizant that's leading to talent delivery. So you see the thing, right? It's not a transaction. It is just one of those things, but you form a relationships, be genuinely interested in the person, the body of the work, reach out, comment, engage genuinely and authentically, and reach out for networking, calling out that I would like to build my network, talk to you for 10 minutes, talk about your goal, understand what motivates the other person, and continuity. All this will require conscious effort and planning. It doesn't happen. We need to plan for it. Thank you.
I love that.
To add to Pial's point, I think, there has to be networking, there has to be a certain, you can say, aspiration or a desire to form a networking which would be a mutual benefiting relationship, right? So to Pial's last point, that the reciprocity is also very important in networking. So you can also, I mean, not necessarily always, but you can check with the recruiter what are the positions he's hiring for. And if you have connections or people that you know in those domains, you can refer. So that builds an interest that, okay, I can get some help back from this candidate. So this candidate is important for me because she or he has helped me out to get my other positions done. So I think having that desire and passion for networking is something very important. Yeah.
Right. Thank you both for sharing that. Our next section is around diversity, equity, and inclusion in hiring. And so the hiring landscape is evolving with a stronger focus on D&I or belonging. What are some ways job seekers can highlight their value without being labeled as a diversity hire? And women are always termed as diversity hiring. So what are some of the ways that we can move away? Like, even though we know that we're not one, it's just, we always get that.
I think there are two ways to look at it. One, what will show on my resume, and when I land the interview, what will I tell? I mean, that's how it goes, right? I think your resume needs to focus highly on your achievements. It should showcase your skills and areas that you've demonstrated in your work, calling them out clearly. You should look at a way of aligning it with the industry values, industry where you want to get to. For example, if I want to get into HR domain, somebody in tech domain, which means research a little more on that industry, on that domain, tailor your summary, incorporate keywords, show cultural fitness through writing. And I would highly recommend you to use Copilot or ChatGPT or DeepSeek to get that text in place and then humanize it. Just don't leave it at that. Humanize it, and focus on the differentiator and put that on your resume. Let all of that call out loud for you. And then possibly when you talk to your recruiter eventually, do ensure that it's your story that's in the forefront. What have you done? What are those past experiences, successes, and failures? I think that is what creates the differentiator instead of possibly just leaving it at that. All of it will need you to revisit your resume and rewrite it depending on what is the messaging, what is the highlight or your summary that you want to put out there for recruiters or anybody visiting your LinkedIn resume is concerned. For example, and I'll just take an example. So I knew Annie and I were going to participate in this. Of course, I knew about it, and one knew whatever it is, right? But when Manjula introduced her, that 5 a.m., that marathon every day, so in my head, the picture of Annie is somebody who's highly consistent, who's highly disciplined, goal driven, so on and so forth. So now that is a story. Is your resume giving out the story? Now, when you talk to your recruiter or anybody, are you able to bring forth your own story, your own strength out there? That's all. Thanks.
Fantastic point, Pial. I would only say one thing here, adding to what all that Pial has shared is let not the diversity label come in your way of what you want to achieve in your life. Okay, so let your achievements speak for you, let your success speak for you. Doesn't matter what label anybody gives. And I think here is where I would re-quote Preeti, our earlier panel, who said that just keep moving forward. Don't bother about what others perceive or speak about the diversity level. It really doesn't matter.
Oh, thank you both.
If I could just add one thing, I mean, you've gotten me started. I think if there's one thing I've learned very strongly in 2024, and when I was listening and interacting with some senior leaders, etc., is as women, we are very given to second guessing. Should I say it? Will it make sense? Am I being heard? Or am I just repeating somebody? Forget that. You are the voice. Even if 100 people have spoken about it, you're the 101st woman who needs to talk about it again. So remember that always. That's what I keep telling myself also, in spite of all the great introductions that happen. So that's something you always need to remember, and you always need to choose yourself in that journey. So don't second guess. And just the second piece is, and Preeti actually touched about it. You don't have to be a 10 on 10 basis the JD and your skills. Even if you're, and hear me out loud and clear, even if you're 5 on 10 and you're willing, go ahead and apply. Wing it. 90% you'll be successful if you're willing and if you have set your intention. That's all. That's what I'm doing these days. Hope that helps.
I'm so glad you said it out loud. I'm so glad you said it out loud. Because as women, we, even if there's one thing which is missing, we're like, oh, maybe we'll not get. But I'm really thankful to you, Pial, for saying that out loud. Okay. My next question, and we're moving towards the end of the session, is there any one piece of advice that you both have you wish more job seekers knew before they start their application process?
I think I spoke about it. Know yourself, headspace, apply, raise your hand. Aata hai, okay, I think, but you know it, you don't know it. If you're willing, you have some amount of domain knowledge, you have been there, go ahead, raise your hand, wing it, get your resume right, use the tools, and do know that people want you as much as you want the job. That's what it is. Thanks.
I would say just go for it, grab the opportunity,
Yeah.
and don't second guess yourself anytime.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, one last question. As much as I want to hold both of you and ask more and more questions, I think just for our HSI audience, what advice do you have for professionals who are looking to transition into an industry but lack direct experience or are transitioning, or want to upskill and move to a different role?
I think skills are transferable today. If you have your softer skills there, if you have developed a point of view, and if you're somebody who's open to communicating, I think you've already made the cut. If you need to learn domain, that you can any day, anyway, right? So it's again all about raising your hand and saying that, well, I'll do this new job. I want to get into this new job, and I will put in everything to know the domain. I think that's all you need to do. We have touched upon it in various ways, and that's all I could think of. I mean, there are two skills that you need to that you and I both need to possibly keep building on. One is communication, and second is your ability to possibly articulate your point of view. And that's a part of communication. If that's something that you're able to do and you're networking continuously, believe you me, you will gain more knowledge on the other various other industries that you possibly are eyeing. Where is that industry going with some amount of research and readiness in terms of you getting your resume in place and then possibly cracking the interview with your comm skills.
Yeah, and I would add to Pial's point is remember one thing, that success or the positive mindset needs to be built incrementally. So celebrate your small wins. And the small win can be your resume being shortlisted for an interview. That's your first win. Celebrate your small wins and learn from your failures. Let the language that you speak to yourself change. Instead of calling it a failure, saying, I learned something. This was a lesson for me. This did not work for me. It was possibly not meant for me. Something better is out there. So the language you speak to yourself each time you feel that you're falling down is also very important. And the celebrating the small wins is very important, because your incremental success builds your confidence. Build on your confidence is what I would say.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much, both. I just want to quickly highlight the key takeaways from this second track, and there could be more, but this is what I've been noting down. While making customizations, the best way is to keep it simple and to the point and have your key accomplishments, the work you've done, and the accomplishments that you have achieved. In an interview, be specific in your contributions and like what you bring to the table. Having gaps are normal. But the way you come back is what matters the most. Celebrate your small wins and learn from failures, change the language around your journey. Then Pial mentioned then affirm yourself, start from there, have the right headspace, do not start from sense of loss. Before jumping into applying for a job, analyze the JD and try to incorporate similar language and terminology. Always proofread, ace your storytelling skills to showcase the most important story, your own life, which is your own life. Own your break and be proud of your decisions. Always choose yourself and don't second guess yourself. Let your skills and achievements speak for you, not labels like diversity hiring. Well, thank you so much to both of you. This has been an insightful discussion, and thank you again for being so real and sharing your stories and your insights and your expertise with us today. I want to thank you to all our attendees for engaging with this session. We hope these takeaways empower you to approach your job search with confidence and clarity. Wishing you all the best in landing your dream role. I would also like to thank my team who's at the back end helping me out. Thanks to them, Meghna and Prasha, and Surya. This has been, if you found the session today helpful, stay connected with Her Second Innings for more empowering workshops. We had a lot of questions on upskilling. We do have a training that's coming up. Please go on to our website or Instagram to know more about these upskill trainings and more sessions and how to get into tech industries. We look forward to seeing you all again soon. Have a